Welcome back to Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions. We answer them live right here on Facebook. So I had a pre-submitted question in one of the Facebook user groups, particularly how to set up different packages. So, for example, a good, better, best package. So as we're well aware of, we want to go out and continue to raise and expand our sales through expansion and upsell additional services so we can raise that recurring revenue. So one of the best ways of doing it in the beginning of the season or near the beginning of the season is going out and actually selling pre-built packages of certain services that are combined. So these could be gateway services and all can be estimated off satellite imagery. So what we're going to do is go in and show you how to break it out inside Service Autopilot here. I'm going to hop in here just to make sure that we are live and the audio is good. But looks like we are good. So what we're going to be doing is breaking down a good, better, best model. So for in the lawn care industry, this is going to be maybe a mow and blow. So we just the lawn mowing for our basic version. The second one is going to be mow and blow with bed and bush package. And then the final one may be our mow and blow, bed and bush package, and fertilization. So the ability of the client to go in and select the package and not only select parts of it, be able to select each part of the package grouped together is going to be the goal of today. So we're going to break this down step by step. I'm going to open my screen in normal fashion and knock this out. And I apologize too. We haven't made a lot of videos here in the last week or two. We've at the SimpleGrowth team, myself, and about 14 or 15 other full-time people, the SimpleGrowth team, we have been absolutely slammed here back in the trenches, working knee to knee virtually with a lot of business owners on different software platforms building these things out. So I think just alone, we've done probably 14 or 15 pro essay setups and at least 3 or 4 deep dives where people spend 22 to 23 hours with me personally via screen share knee to knee virtually, where we set up your whole entire software system, your services, your packages. And one of the things we do a lot of is actually this kind of good, better, best model, depending whether you're in the Northeast, Southwest, or in the deep South or South. These packages are very applicable to most areas of the country and Canada. So I'm going to break down how we break out a good, better, best model and not give the consumer the option to only select parts of the package. So we're going to do a basic mow and blow with bed and bush, and mow and blow, bed and bush, and fertilization. Particularly not in that order, but we're going to have 3 different good, better, best package options. So I'm going to go in and show my screen here and drop it down. So first thing, we're going to show you how to build this out outside of any software platform, no matter which one you're using. And then we're actually going to take the SimpleGrowth blueprint where we go out and build the services with a minimum price, a budgeted time, and a cost before profit. And then I'm going to show you how to take all this built out in the blueprint and put this into a software called Service Autopilot. So first thing we're going to do is build out our services in normal fashion. So I'm going to call this the lawn mowing service. And the custom variable that I'm going to be using here is going to be turf square footage. So what we're going to do is say our goal right now in this fictitious company is to make $55 per man hour per guy or girl in the field. And our break-even cost, we'll say, is $36 per hour before we make a profit. So the difference between the 55 and 36 is our projected profit, long as everything goes correctly. So based on that, I'm going to say our minimum price to show up is $45, and the maximum area that's going to cover is, let's say, 7,000 square feet. What the system is saying here in the pre-built blueprint by SimpleGrowth is that based on that, it is that $55 per man hour. It's giving us 0.82 man hours to mow, blow, stick, edge, and trim that property. So if you're wondering what 0.82 hours is, that is going to be about 49 minutes for one individual. So we're always going to build out our services based on one person on the crew. So if we have a 2-person crew, that 49 will be divided by 2 people. But if we add a 3rd person in, or we have a no-call, no-show, the software, when you set it up, should go in and calculate the budgeted time on base the actual crew dispatched. So when we set up our services, we always base it on one person. So it's flexible and can be adapted to whoever shows up. So in addition, without any price breaks, I'm going to say every 1,000 square feet over my first 7,000 square feet is, I'm going to say based on a 60-inch lawnmower, I'm going to say that's going to be about 0.05 man hours there. And obviously, you don't want to use that number exactly yourself. You want to make sure you have time and motion studies, but I'm going to use that as a benchmark here. So basically, every 1,000 square feet at 0.05 man hours, we need to charge, based on your numbers here, fictitiously, if this was it, we need to charge $2.75, and it's costing us $1.84 profit. So that is going to be our first part of our 3-step package. So the first thing was our mow and blow, our basic mowing. Our second service is going to be our bed and bush. So what we're going to do is go in and create this in here, and I'm going to take care of the landscape bed weeding first. I'm going to base this on bed. I'm actually going to call it weeding square footage. Maybe we've got some rock beds that need to be weeded outside of like a mulch bed. So we've got to define that again. I'm going to pull down my $55 an hour goal and $36 break even. And I'm going to say for every square foot, we're going to have a price. So based on this, I'm going to use some fictitious numbers without getting the industry averages here. But let's just say one person in an hour could hand weed 1,500 square feet. So I'm going to help you kind of talk about the math of how we do this, because this is what the SimpleGrowth team has been doing here for the last, well, several years, but really doing a lot of these setups. So let's just say the math behind it here is 1 hour covers 1,500 square feet. So maybe I'm going to base it on every 100 square feet or every square foot. So it really doesn't matter how we set it up. But let's take a look at it number-wise. If I'm feeling this decimal point is going to be too small. So if I go into format number and pull it out, so we've got 0.01 hours based on 1 square foot. Full transparency, if you're building this in Service Autopilot, it's only going to go out to 3 digits out past the decimal point. So you probably want to do this like every 100 square feet or every 10 square feet to get that decimal to be a little more accurate there. But for this example, this is fine. We'll use this as it is. So I've kind of done my math on the bottom end, but it's 4 cents per square foot. So I'm going to say every square foot is 4 cents. It is taking me 0.001 man hours. I'm going to pull the formatting out here so I can actually have that number. And this is, so we're charging 6 cents and it's costing us 4 cents now that we've taken those decimal points. So like I said, I think on this example, based on the production being as well as it, or as efficient as it probably would be, you'd want to do it every 10 square feet, 100 square feet of actual weeding for your bed and bush package. But this is a good way to start it out. And now in that package as well, we've got bush trimming. I'm going to use a southern model here, but this would be applicable in a northern model as well, or a southern model as well. So I'm going to say, hey, maybe I don't have a industry production rate for small, medium, and large shrubs, which ideally is what we want to put in here. But let's go in and say, hey, Mike, I haven't gotten to a point in my business where I know production rates. So maybe we're going to guesstimate what's in our head. So I'm going to show you how to tackle a time-based estimate too as well. So I'm going to call it bush trimming man minutes. So we're going to base it on how many minutes you think it's going to take each time you're at the property. So once again, there's going to be no minimum on this because we're doing this as we're at the job. But maybe in a southern model, you do the bush trimming or in the southeast while you're there. But in a northern model, you may only do the bush trimming twice a year or 3 times a year. So it's not every time you're there. So I'll show a northern model how to create a minimum on this. So basically, maybe we're going to say our minimum is $250, or actually, let's say 210. And I'm going to call this bush trimming man hours, actually. So we're only going to charge to the nearest hour, not the minute. So as we're building this out, I could say equals 210 divided by the 55 I'm pulling down as our hourly goal. That's going to tell us what our minimum price is. So the minimum price is 3.8 0.85. So if I said, okay, if it's 250 is my base price, it's 4.5 hours. So in this case, I would probably round this up to the nearest whole hour, which would be 5. So between 1 to 5 hours, my base price is 250. That's going to include some mobilization, some extra time. And then each additional hour, 1 hour over the first 5 hours is, and I'm going to go in and just multiply this 1 times by 55, obviously $55 an hour. And it's costing us 36. Now I've got my mow and blow, I've got my bed maintenance, and now I also have my bush trimming per visit with a minimum price. Now the final thing is, let's say we have fertilization and weed control for our premium package. So what we have here is, or maybe in my case scenario, I would probably say that you would want to go out and do your mow and blow is the first package. Mow and blow fertilization is the second package. You're good. And then the better is mow and blow fertilization and bed and bush. Kind of makes more sense there. Because the bed and bush, you're probably going to have to go out in person to actually see that. But the first 2 packages, you probably can do that completely online. So what I'm going to do here is say the number of small bushes. And our custom field is going to be the number of small bushes. I'm going to say every 1-to-1 bush is, and I'm going to say ballpark, it's 4 minutes per bush. Don't use these. We actually, if you're working with SimpleGrowth, we do have industry averages that I'm not necessarily going to give you away on the screen share here, but I'm going to kind of fictitiously show you how long, if you think how long a small bush takes and you think it is 4 minutes, we'd create 4 divided by 60. Then we're going to create this equation that multiplies off our hourly rate and our break-even costs. And we're just breaking these down, and then we're going to put them into a good, better, best package. All right, so I'm setting this up, and then what I'm going to do is literally copy and paste this down into our small, medium, and large shrubs. Now, we can also do this with a hedgerow, both sides and the top, with and without a ladder. I'll bring that in as well here. For time's sake, I'm not sure if I'll put all those into Service Autopilot, but I do want to kind of break this down, how to do these services. So the biggest thing when we do SA setups or SA or deep dives with companies is that most people get really hung up about how they do it and how will that lay in the system. Well, what I've seen is after doing probably close to 1,000 of these here over the last 3 or 4 years with the team is that it doesn't matter how you actually perform the service. We need to get the foundational part of the service set up correctly, and then we can tackle the rest. So I've got number of small, number of medium, and I'm going to do number of large shrubs as well. And also every large shrub is 30 minutes. So obviously these production rates are somewhat fictitious. You need to know your own numbers, or if you work with SimpleGrowth, we can give you some industry averages. So in addition here, I'm going to, in our shrub or bush trimming man hours, we've built, this is going to be, so I've got it time-based, or I have it actually size-based here. So I'll leave both here, but I think this is, I can show you 2 different ways of tackling this out the gate. So this will be actually an interesting way to do it. All right, so now that we have everything set up, we've got our mow and blow package, we got our mow and blow fertilization, or actually our mow and blow with bushes, and now we need to actually create our fertilization. So I forgot we need to do fertilization. So I'm going to do step 1. It's traditionally probably a pre-emergent. So I've got a turf square footage here, and I'm going to say my base price is $65, and that covers the first 6,000 square feet. So basically that's going to be $6 or $6.50 per 1,000. And it'll take about 0.28 man hours for a broadcast push spreader. And I'm going to say every 1,000 square feet over the first 6,000 is, say, 0.05 man hours to put that down. And I'm going to say we've now taken it from $6.50 down to $6 per 1,000. Now, we need our cost per 1,000. So if you're building this out yourself, I recommend if you want to get granular, you actually build out each round with a particular cost per round. So you know the profitability of each round, because traditionally some of the earlier rounds are more expensive, less profitable, and you make all your money at the end. So you can actually see the cost effect if somebody cancels before the end of the season. Otherwise, you take all 4 to 5 rounds or 6 rounds, you average the cost per 1,000 square feet out, and we plug this in here. So let's say fictitiously this is costing us $2.20 per 1,000 square feet of material. So we're going to go in and manipulate the time here. So I'm going to multiply our man hours times our break even plus our $2.20 times the first 6,000 square feet. It gives us $23.35 for labor, overhead, and all your expenses plus your profit or your product costs. It's about a 64% profit margin, and it should take 0.28 man hours. Every 1,000 over the first 6,000 is going to be in here times our break even plus our product cost for the 1,000. So this is how we're going to break this out systematically. So we're charging $6 per 1,000. Labor, materials, and overhead is costing us $4. So what we're going to do is take this and, like I said, we probably would recommend that we break this down, the product cost for each one. I'm going to do fictitiously a 3-step fertilizing package. Now, obviously, full transparency, you're probably between 4 and 6 in most places in the United States and Canada. But just for time's sake here on the video, I'm going to break it down. But that cost per 1,000 square feet should, in my opinion, really be updated per round, because there is a significant difference there. So now that we have this, what we're doing is we're going to go in and build this out inside Service Autopilot. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. If you've seen any of the videos that we do this before, there is a very systematic way I recommend doing this. So if you end up working with SimpleGrowth and we build these services out in an SA setup where we build 20 to 25 services over 6 hours of consulting, or we do a deep dive over about 22 to 23 hours remotely and set up your whole entire business with everything with production rate based estimating, documents, everything else. This is the same exact process that we use. And then we actually give you this sheet to keep. We ask you don't share it, but this sheet here will actually be your blueprint. So when we build these out for you and with you, we just don't give you the fish. We teach you how to fish. We want you to be self-sufficient on this stuff because this is important. Because if your break even here goes from 36 to, let's say, 38 ahead, this number automatically updates. Now these top lines and bottom lines automatically get updated inside Service Autopilot or the software program you're using. So we're going to go now into SA, and I'm going to go in and create our services. But before we do that, we need to go in and create custom fields. So there's a specific order that we need to do this in. We create our custom fields, we create our services, we create our packages, and then we go and create our job estimate templates. We tie them to our estimate documents and grids. And then we're rocking and rolling and creating an estimate process. So what I'm going to do is add in a custom field. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some 5s in front of it so we can find them, because we've got too many in here to begin with. But we've got lawn mowing is done on turf square footage. So we're going to go in, turf square footage, associate to the customer, and it's going to be numbered. Do not associate it to the property if you're using Service Autopilot, because you won't be able to access that data in the report center, because we want to go in and get production rate based reporting to confirm these numbers and assumptions are right. Or if you base it on time based, we want to be able to go in and see how long it took your guys and girls, so we can go out in 3 to 6 months and actually create a production rate based estimating system, not on industry averages, but actually on your numbers. That's very important to set this up in this fashion and in this order. So now I'm going back down and grabbing weeding square footage. So we're just copy and pasting that, dropping this bad boy in there and to the customer. And it is a number, so we can run multiplication off it. Now we're going back in here, scrolling down, bush trimming man hours. Now we can maybe compare how many minutes are in our head versus the production rate based estimating system. So once again, when you're working with us as a certified advisor to try to set some of these things up inside Service Autopilot, we're not going to throw in the deep end if you can't swim with no swimming. It's like we're going to give you time-based and production-based. Now we can compare the two for comfort level. So I'm going to number small bushes. I'm going to hit save and new. Now we're going in, we're going to hit our medium bushes. And one thing I would really suggest if you're building this yourself or you need some help, it's not too late in the season. It's never too late to do this. So you make, oh, the season started, it's busy. This business will only revolve what's in your head as far as estimating. We need to standardize and be able to delegate it, or at least start to buy some of that time back so we can see the kids' baseball games, soccer classes, whatever that is. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made in my business. Is I made this business in the beginning revolve around me. So one thing you're going to notice here is turf square footage. We've already created that custom field up here, so we do not need to recreate it. So in my talking here, I did not put 5s in front of this so we could find this. So I'm going to put some numbers in here so I can find this. And let's just double check here. I think we missed one more, so I want to make sure we've got them all. Large bushes, landscape square footage, turf square footage, medium shrubs, large shrubs, and I'm going to need small shrubs. We'll repurpose this one. Now, you obviously would not have to do this, but in this test account, I've got enough examples in here to kill somebody. So I want to make sure we've got all the things that we need. So I've got my turf square footage. I've got my number of small, medium, and large shrubs. And I have my shrub pruning man hours. So grab that shrub trimming man hours and re-put that in and make sure we have it. And then we're going to build out these services. I'm going to show you how to build these into actual packages for your clients. All right. So once we have this in here now, we are going to go in and build our services. So we need to go back to our SimpleGrowth blueprint. Start right from the top. So we're going to go in and go to the gear icon and go into services. So once we have these services, we're going to literally take the top 5 lines and the bottom 5 lines and transfer them over. This is why it's a blueprint. I've probably heard some of the videos. You can't build a house without a blueprint. You cannot, I'm going to repeat, you cannot and should not build your services inside any software, especially Service Autopilot, without a blueprint. These where mistakes happen. The software is not going to check your profit and profit percentage. All it's going to do is just assume that you have the right numbers in here. And if you don't have the right numbers, you're going to be losing money, potentially, or overcharging or undercharging. So we want to make sure that everything equates out in the blueprint, and then we just transfer it over, just like building that house. And now we've got our lawn mowing. This is going to be our first part of our good, better, best package for the mow and blow. So we're going to go in. We need a service. We need a code. Invoice description. We need a service mode that's going to be per unit. We need an income account here. So I'm going to grab maintenance services and then estimates. We are going to go in and put lawn mowing. We have the rate matrices. So I'm going to grab our calculation and I'm going to go into our 555 turf square footage, which is right here. And now I'm going to go in and literally copy the top 5 lines in here. So 1 to 7,000 square feet is $45. So that is our base price. And our budgeted hours is going to be 0.82 and it's costing us $29.45. And I'm going to say every 1,000 square feet over the base price of 7,000 is, based on the blueprint, $2.75 and 0.05 man hours. And what is it costing us before profit? Well, that's $1.80 right here. So that's how we're building out. You can, full transparency, add some items here and make price breaks along the way. For this example, I'm not getting into that, but there is definitely some videos out there how I break that down. So what we're going to do is hit save and new. We've got our lawn mowing now. So I'm going to scroll down the blueprint. Landscape bed weeding and bush trimming are going to be the second part or maybe the third part of our premium package. So we need to go in and do our landscape bed weeding. Now we're going to do it per square foot in here. And once again, we need a code. We need a service mode, estimate description, invoice description. And collect our area here. And then we're going to go in and once again, we're going to look at that 555 to the bush trimming man hours is the custom field right from the blueprint. Or actually, we're going to do landscape bed weeding. I'm sorry. So we're doing the weeding square footage. That is the landscape square footage. All right, and we're gonna just copy it right from the matrices here. So it is 6 cents per square foot, and it's costing us 4 cents. If you're building out matrices in SA, do not go past 3 digits, past the decimal point. It will not cooperate. It will take them, but it will not calculate off them properly from what we have seen as of several months ago, at least. So that is just kind of a pro tip because this is where we've been living. All right, so now we've got our landscape maintenance, our bush maintenance, and now we're going to go into bush trimming. So bush trimming, I base this on how many hours are in your head, guesstimating with a base price of $250 per visit, or number of small, medium, and large shrubs. So we'll build this out in this example for simplicity so I can actually build out the packages based on time. But the idea is we can also go in and do the small, medium, and large shrubs. So let's go in and grab our bush trimming. Obviously, you want to fill out the invoice description, these other things with some detail. But for speed and simplicity here, I'm just kind of pasting through here. So rate matrices, I'm going to go in. And bush trimming man hours, I'm going to say from 1 to 5 hours is $250. 5 hours. I'm getting those numbers all right from the top here. Actually, I'd say it's 4.55 hours. So we've added a little extra charge to cover the base price. And at 5.55 hours, it's costing us $163.64 before profit. And every 1 hour over the first 5 hours is 55 and costing us 36. We're putting a 55, 1 hour, and $36 break even, and it's saved. All right, like I said, we can do the same exact fashion here for the small, medium, and large shrubs. Just for time today, I'm not going to build those out, but I did show you on the blueprint how to build those out. So ideally, that's the range you want to go, or actually have both, because maybe you're in a production rate-based estimating system, but we go to a property that has all these shrubs, but they're on top of a 40 or 50-foot retaining wall. That production rate's probably not going to play. So you still need to be able to use some industry expertise to say how long should it take. So I'm going to build out our fertilizing here just to show you what this can look like as well. And then we'll be able to put our good, better, best package together. As we're going through here, we've got 6,000 square feet as our base price for $65. I believe it was 0.47, nope, 0.28 man hours with a push spreader. If you're using a ride-on machine, obviously you're going to be a little more efficient. 23.35 with overhead and materials. And every 1,000 square feet over the base price of 6,000 is an additional $6 per 1,000, 0.05 man hours. These are all coming off these numbers, and $4 expense break even. So now what we've done is we built out step number 1. I'm going to save and new, and we need a code. We're going to build out 3 three versions of this here, or 3 steps. Obviously, you probably got 4 to 6, but for time's sake, we're not going to build out all of these here. But I will show you how to bucket these all together and bring it all together for a good, better, best package inside Service Autopilot. And 0.28 and 2335. Every 1,000 square feet over the first 6,000 is $6 per 1,000, 0.05 man hours, and labor and materials and overhead are going to run us $4. All right, so I'm going to do step number 3, and then we will create a good, better, best package here. Any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the live recorded version. I'm happy to answer those as well. We have, once again, 0.28 and 2335. So 0.28 man hours, 23.35 is our cost with labor, overhead, and materials. Every 1,000 square foot over my base price of 6,000 is $6, 0.05, and $4 break even. Once again, that's all being pulled from the SimpleGrowth blueprint here to drive that process. Now, my guess is while I was talking, one of these services did not have the 555 in front of it, which is going to make it hard to find here because we've got so many of these. So let me just do a quick search here of all our services to make sure we have them all with the right naming convention. Obviously, you're not going to need to do this. All right. So we've got the 3 steps. I've got my shrubs. Okay, so I think we're good. If we're missing one, we can grab it. So now we built out the blueprint, we built out our custom fields, we built the services based on the actual blueprint itself. Now we're going to scroll back up once again, and now our next step is we're actually going to create some packages. Packages aren't necessarily designed to do this way. I'm not going to necessarily call it a workaround, but this is going to be your best practice to display these good, better, best packages and give you power to not allow your clients to select or deselect some of these services. So I'm going to add a package here. And we're going to call it the 555. Good package. I'm just going to call it good, better, best. Obviously, you're probably going to call it a little something different. I'm just going to copy it down for the description. I'm going to say the renewal date is January 1st of 2021. Okay, and we've got our add in my lawn mowing. And so it looks like we may have not put the 555 in there. So I'll make sure I'm pulling in the right one so you can actually see it calculate with the base price here. So I'm going to go back into the gear icon, just rename that service to make sure we can find it. And I'll show you how to connect it. So and today is the 26th as we are making this live video. So I'm going to pull this in here, and then we've made our, if you're joining us here late or just as a review, we've taken the SimpleGrowth blueprint, we've created the custom fields, the services with product and material and overhead recovery. And now we are going to go in and 6/2021. These are our fertilizing ones. We've got those. And And I'm just double checking the naming here so I can find them when we create these packages. So we've got multiples of these services in this test account. So just putting the 5s in front of it is going to make it easier for me to pull them out and show you how to build a package and actually use the ones that we have created today together on this live video. So landscape bed weeding. So it's kind of tough to type and talk and make sure you got everything else in here. So I'll update these and create these packages so you can see your good, better, best package of how this looks like. All right, there's the lawn mowing. Perfect. Now I think we've got everything we need. Let me add some numbers in here in front so we can see it. All right. Save. I'm going back to my package here. All right, and there's my lawn mowing. What I'm going to do is just say, hey, this package starts today, and I'm going to drop it in and say, hey, it goes to the end of 2021 here. All right, so this is our good package. So it's really just the mow and blow. And save the changes. And for some of you who did not like my renewal date, I'm going to do January 2022 on the 1st. Save changes. Now I'm going to go in and add another one, my 555. So this is going to be my better package. I've got lawn mowing is part of the better package here. So we've got lawn mowing, and then I'm going to add in our fertilizing, and then I'll do bed and bushes, our premium. We need to fill these out here to get it ready, and then we'll add in the services. And add in some descriptions here. And we're going to select our 555, step 1, 2, and 3. So what we've done is created just a mowing package, and now we've created a mowing with the fertilization. Just for speed, I'm going to paste these dates in here. Obviously, you want to select your dates. There are some tips and tricks on the dates that would be a whole different call, but I will, this is basically the framing work, how you set this up. Now, there's a couple things with the dates you may want to tweak as well, but I will cover that in a later video. All right, so now we've created our good or better package. Now we're going to save our changes and go in and create our best package. That's going to include our mowing, fertilizing, and bed and bush packages. So we're going to add one more package here. Once again, comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the live recorded version. We are here to help you build out and kind of show you what we figured out living in the same exact trenches that you're living in your service business. This is exactly what we've done in my business, Dylan's business, Virginia's business, Chad's business he worked in. This is how to take the features and functions and actually execute them in the trenches of your service business. And that's where SimpleGrowth comes in. A lot of people want to know what the difference is between SimpleGrowth and Service Autopilot when we set these up. And it's Essay's launch and support team is awesome. They're going to teach you those features and functions. But if you want to learn a workflow and expert implementation, how to actually use it in a service business by business owners that have broke that 7-figure mark and well beyond, that's what we do. So kind of our duty here, I believe, on these videos to show you how to do it. And if you end up want to do it yourself, we give you step by step. And if you need some help, we're here to help you set this up as well. So we've done more than a few of these here over the last couple years. All right, so we've got our mowing, fertilization, and now we need to do our landscape weeding. So it's going to be part of our best package, and we also want to do shrub pruning. So grab our services. And shrub pruning, I'm going to use bush trimming here. That's based on how many hours. We can also break this down in small, medium, and large shrubs as well. So that's one way of tackling it. And just for time, I'm just going to use these dates here and copy and paste them in. You'd obviously want to take some time with this. And there are some tips and tricks and some other videos that we give around this when you display this way. Minimum days, default budget hours, and default rate should be left blank in this type of setup. So what we've done now is we've created our services, custom fields, packages to include our good, better, best. Now, how does this all lay out? Well, the next step is we want to go into the gear icon, go into job estimate templates. And we are going to create a new job estimate template. And I'm going to call this the all right, so show when creating, I'm going to say jobs and estimates both. It's going to open up another area. And we're going to select our estimate document. So if you're unfamiliar with the estimate document sequence, there is 3 types of documents. We have an estimate email, which is a clickable link. The client opens it up, or future client opens it up. That opens an estimate document. That's where they click and check and sign and accept the estimate. And then there's an automated email. It's an acceptance email. So what we've done is linked all 3 of these in to avoid all the extra clicks and setup. We want to standardize that. So we're going to go in and grab a pre-built document. And we're going to go in, instead of adding a service, we're going to go in and add a package. So I'm going to go in and grab our good. I'm going to grab our better. And we are going to add our best package with everything included. So once you've defaulted the setup on this, there's certain ways you want to expose the pricing in your package. So you don't want the total with each line item involved. You don't want just the total, or maybe you do, or you just want the price per visit. So those are the different ways we can tackle this. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways of doing this. But in my opinion, this is probably the best way of knocking this down right now. So, which is interesting is if you wanted to go in on this example here, we can set up some different things as far as like number of visits and quantity. So I'll show you how we can set that up here. Default in a minute, but I'm going to actually go and do a live estimate here so you can actually see what happens. So obviously being live here, I may have to make some tweaks to it to get it the way we want it to look. But I'm going to go in and add a lead. I'm going to put our test tester in here. Now, there are a few other things that we would definitely want to put in here, but for just speed's sake, I'm getting this lead in here. You're going to notice when this opens up, there's a long gray bar across the screen. That's going to give us a visual clue that it's a lead. When they become a client, there's going to be 3 distinct columns. And these are the things that we need to look at as far as training our office staff, and that what we show in the SimpleGrowth Learning Hub and training for workflow. We can take these 18 to 20 screens that everybody's using in Service Autopilot and actually condense it down to 8 to 10 screens of success. I'm not going to get into building on an on-site estimate form, but the workflow here would be is going into property measurements, grabbing this property in the Maps Pro version, highly recommend it. We're going to go in and measure this property. I'm not going to be real specific, real detailed here, but you get the idea. So you're going to go in, you're going to measure this property, and these are gateway service. I want to be able to just measure them online. I'm going to label it and I'm going to color it. So every time I pull up this property, I know that's the area. So if we're only servicing the front and side yards, and estimated that we can pull this up every time we have the client record right inside Service Autopilot to see this. So now the next thing is we want to save that. So every time I pull this lead or client up, I can see what we measured. And then I want to go in and grab my turf square footage right here. Now, hopefully that's the right one. If it isn't, I can manually put it in. Like I said, this test account's got hundreds of these square footages in here now. It's probably time to clean it up or get a new account. So we've saved it. Now, what happens if we can't see it online or we have to go on site? I'm going to recommend using a thing called a on-site estimate form. So that's going to be live in your mobile, tablet, or computer or Chromebook. Now, obviously, we didn't build this one out particularly for this one here, but I'm going to just show you what it could look like. So imagine if the lawn mowing, we couldn't measure it online. We had to go there. We can physically type in the square footage or how many minutes we think it's going to take to mow the lawn, or how many square feet based on 1, 2, 3 inch steps of mulch or mulched bed weed square footage. So that would be, hey, based on the weeding in the better package or the best package, we could put in the square footage of the bed and would automatically, when we open up the estimate, calculate the price, budgeted time, or the number of large, medium, or small shrubs or hedgerows with or without a ladder based on linear feet. So the idea is we fill this out and then this data automatically populates on the estimates. Obviously, in this live, I have not created one that links up, but I'll manually plug it in. But the idea is really when we go into add an estimate, all the data is there, particularly for your estimate. We don't have that extra step of emotion or issue. So now we're going to go into templates. We're ignoring all this part up here because we've already tackled this. Like once again, we're avoiding clicks. So that's where SimpleGrowth comes in as an expert from some of the things we got lucky enough to get right and some of the things we got wrong. But I don't know about you, but if you own a service business, I don't want a death by 1,000 clicks. I want to be able to go in there and literally drive an executable process that I can own, use it, and then delegate and then go on vacation and not have to worry about it. So that's what we're building here. My 7-figure business, I was able to become an absentee owner for upwards of a month by building these processes and systems and simplifying predictable results. So we're going to go in and grab our estimate template here. And all of our services have loaded in. So check this out. We've got our square footage has loaded in. So $50 a cut, 0.92 man hours based on one person, a cost of $33.05 and a 34.6 profit margin. So really crazy is 34.55 and you round that up is 34.6. So the blueprint has transferred the profit and profitability into your Service Autopilot account. So really, really huge here. So what we're going to do is go in and hit draft to quote. Now, this could be a per visit deal, or maybe in your market, you've got 28 visits. So you could default these on the job estimate template so it loads in automatically. But what we've got now is $1,400 for the 28 mowings. Okay, so I'm gonna drive this in that equation here. Okay, now your fertilizations, each 1, 2, and 3 step, automatic loaded. There's 1 visit per step. Okay, so that plays out nicely. Next thing is we're going to go in and do our lawn mowing, and it looks like we may have, I put a different order in here. So just for time's sake, I'm going to put our 28 cuts in here. Just be well aware the best package of fertilizer should be below here. And we've got our bed weeding. So I didn't put the square footage in there, but let's say we've got 500 square feet of beds, and we weed those beds every time we're there. So that's 28 visits. That's $840. and the shrub pruning. So our fertilization and mowing are a little out of whack. I should have paid a little more attention. And then shrub pruning is based on how many hours. So let's just say it's 5 hours. So it's 250. So anything up to 5 was 250. So if I put 6 in there, it should jump that price up, 305. And let's say we have 2 shrub pruning visits. So we can default this on the job estimate template, but this is how we drive this together. So we can go in and literally have 2 visits per year and have this at so obviously all these descriptions will be loaded in automatically from your job estimate template. So once again, just so you can take a look at this here, gear icon job estimate template. So whatever you put on the job estimate template will override everything else. So this is one place you want to override all the descriptions once and have them load in. So one we're playing in here is Facebook Live packages, good, better, best. Now on this one, I did not pay attention when I put the package together, so it actually changed the order. You'd want to go in when you create the package and make sure that order is correct. So it's going to look a little funky, but once again, you've got that quantity right here, so you could default the 28 mowings in there on each one of these, so it loads in automatically every time you do it. And then the same thing with the shrub pruning for 2 visits. So you can hit save and close, and so that would automatically populate what I've manually done here. So the idea is set it once and forget it. So now that we have this all set in, we are going to hit save. There's going to be several different options to way you would want to display this here. You may want to take a quick preview before you do it, and then I'm going to email this to myself so you can see what the client would actually see. So as we're driving this process, we're going to have, once there's a comfort level, we don't need to preview that, but I want to make sure that we can go in and see it in the fashion we want. So I'm going to go in and quote all of these. Hopefully this shows out exactly the way we want it, but if not, I'll show you how to manipulate it. So what I'm going to do is go in and hit save, hit email. A pre-templated email box is going to pop up. Recommend including a thing called a lead letter in here, the 5 or 6 main reasons why your business is different and why people would want to do work with you and not your competitors. This wasn't a test account, we would have the email automatically pop in here, but right now we do not. All right, and we're going to send it. So I'm going to hop into my email and pull out the good, better, best package with the consumer only be able to select just the package, but not the services within the package. So this is one of the many things we do in our SA setups and deep dives for Service Autopilot users. So let me hop into my email here on the other screen, and we will pull this up and show you what we're getting into. All right, so here is the email that we have. And I'm going to go to click view my proposal. So I'm now your current client or new client getting an estimate. Loads in. Yours does not have to look this way, but this is one way we've got it. So we've got a good package. Lawn mowing, 28 mowings for $14.14. We've got our better package for the mowing. And so actually I must have put the wrong number of 28 mowings in here. So we'll go back and edit this here in a minute so you can see what this looks like. But this is one way of showing it. I recommend for a good, better, best package that we have just one line item that encompasses everything, not just the prices. But you can do it either way. But best practice, in my opinion, would probably not include this. So what we would do is go back to the lead here, open this up, and manipulate this. Now, one thing most people are unaware of is until the client actually clicks and signs, that estimate actually can be edited live on the fly. So I would say package total only is the setting, and you'd want to default that from the estimate settings level. But for this example, I'm just going to manually override it so you can actually see what that looks like. And I'm going to go back to that proposal and renew it or refresh it. There you go. So our better package here is not adding up correctly. So let's take a look at it. Because if you're previewing it, obviously that's something you want to be aware of. So I put lawn mowing here at 14. Not that the calculations aren't working. I just screwed up the number here. And we'd want to set that as a default. So let me hit save here and then we'll refresh it. And with some Facebook Live magic, we should have a good, better, best package. Good package. Lawn mowing only, better package, fertilization for $16.63, and best package are lawn mowing, 3 steps, bed and bush packages for $31.13. So that's how you break out a good, better, best package. Obviously, being Facebook Live, I misordered these services, but that's okay. Obviously, in your version, when you're building this out, you can do it. Or if you have us build it out, we would catch that and edit that for you. But Callahan's Corners, you asked the questions. We had some live right here on Facebook showing you how to go in and create these out. But just to show you the benefit of this here is if I went in as the consumer and clicked on this, now I can scroll down, recommend putting some videos in here, what's included, what's not included, and overcoming those sales or price objections in your estimate. Believe it or not, these bad boys actually play live right inside the estimate. And then we want to scroll down. We want to click to sign the estimate. Little John Hancock there. We want to print our name and hit accept. And when I go back to the lead now, we are going to have a signed document that's live in there for collections and other state mandated, maybe pesticide rules. So we would go in, X out of this, and now lo and behold, it's updated to 1 not sent. And we've got our signature information, time and date, stamped IP. Under attachments here, we hit the estimate PDF, and now the estimate will show with just the better package they agreed to. So the good and the best is not there. And when we scroll to the bottom, we have that signature, time and date stamped, all inside Service Autopilot. So hopefully that was helpful. How do you go out and create a good, better, best package inside Service Autopilot to delegate it to your team to estimate, hopefully online, and then the rest through an on-site estimate form? If you have any other questions, how to go out and scale your 7-figure plus business from 7-figure business owners at SimpleGrowth, we're here to help you. So Callahan's Corners, we're here. Where you ask the questions, we had some live right here on Facebook. We coming back to you at another edition tomorrow for best workflow figures or workflow practices in your service business from business owners that are living and have lived in the trenches that you're living right now. So we're not teaching you features and functions, folks. We're teaching executable workflow to take time back and make your life easy and empower your team to do the work that you're doing. We'll see you again tomorrow. Callahan's Corner, where you ask questions. We had some live right here on Facebook.